It has been a minute, and I'm so excited to make a video. And I suppose the people who are watching this are interested in Need for Speed World, which would be the people who have probably been following me for a while. So you may be interested, you may not be interested, but nonetheless, if you want to watch just the tier list and the car reviews, you can skip to the timestamp. But for those of you actually interested in me and what's been going on with me, I am very happy to talk to you and say welcome to this video and welcome to this channel. Now, I started out YouTube back in 2012 in this game with Need for Speed World because I still remember it. I was playing with I think a C-Class Nissan 240SX, and I was playing Main Street, the open class track, and I was playing it over and over again, and I actually started beating people. And mind you, I was bad. I did not know how to race back then. I had no idea how to race, but dumb naive me 12 years ago, 12 years ago is it? Yeah, 12 years ago, thought that I was actually good. So I was like, I'm actually beating people. What if I make some videos? So I started uploading videos, and then yeah, went from there. It evolved into uploading videos for all different types of games, and then I got into some other racing games, and then I decided that I really wanted to try and be successful at YouTube, and I went all out and I tried really, really hard to build my YouTube channel. And it was going well, but I was just really discouraged at the time. I didn't have work, I wasn't making money, and I was really putting a lot into YouTube. And I got to a point where I was coming from a point of desperation, and I was really bitter and sour, especially when I put a lot of effort into videos and they didn't do well. And it just wasn't going well for me. Also, there were no real games that I enjoyed that much other than Need for Speed World, and I was forcing myself to play all these different racing games, but I just didn't like them enough. And I still I still have hope that a game will be released that I fall in love with just as much or even more than this old game. But for now, this is it. This is my game. And you know what? I enjoy making videos, and I've put in a lot of work to get my video editing skills and video making skills up to scratch and improved, and I feel like I can make really good videos, and I hope to prove it with this one. And you know what? If no one watches it, who cares, man? I'm having fun and I'm doing it in a game that I enjoy. So if I become the person to make YouTube videos on Need for Speed World and I average less than 100 views per video, even though I put in weeks of effort per video, I don't care anymore. I know that I enjoy this. I know that I enjoy this game, and this is what I'm going to be making content on. If in the future I fall in love with another game, I'll dabble into making content, and if I fall in love with it as much as I love this game, then maybe one day I'll make good content for another game. But for now, I enjoy this, so why not do it? I'm no longer hunting for views and attention the way I used to, um, and I'm just gonna have fun, and I'm genuinely excited coming into this with a new mindset, and let's do it. So this is a tier list on the Tribo Group B1 cars. What is Tribo if you don't know? It is a community hosted tournament. It's gotten quite big. The World United server has actually advertised it on their Discord server, and since they did that, I'm like, okay, this thing is getting big, so let's get involved. And I've been invited to join it a couple of times. And it's a bit hard for me to race and compete in it due to time zone issues, but I really want to give it a go, and it was the perfect excuse and the perfect way to make a tier list, which is my favorite kind of video to make. The Tribo group has set cars for different car classes so that they're balanced, because if certain cars within a class are really good at one thing or another, so there's like a different meta car for different tracks. What the Tribo group has done for their competitions, they have made categories, and they have made a list of balanced cars. And what I've gone ahead and done, so I've tested all the cars in Ram Quarter and Kempton Crossover. Okay, here we go. Mercedes-Benz 190E. This car feels great. It oversteers though, but it doesn't feel bad. The Nissan 370Z. This car is slightly boaty and has body roll. Its acceleration feels really good though. The Nissan 370Z Roadster feels extremely similar to the 370Z normal edition. It's slightly better handling with slightly worse acceleration. So they're very similar cars. Next up, we have the Porsche 911 Carrera S. At first, using this car, I felt like the handling wasn't good, and I don't know why I thought this. Maybe it was because it was one of the first cars that I tested, but after reviewing it multiple times, I realized that its handling is actually very strong. Next, we have the Porsche 911 GT2. Straight from the get-go, it was obvious that the handling of this car is fantastic. It has very good turn-in and response. Next is the Audi A3. This car is overall pretty decent. Not my cup of tea though. It doesn't turn in enough, and it oversteers on some exits. The Audi A4 is next. I remember this was a king of some tracks back in the day for D-Class because of its powerful nitrous start. It still has a pretty good perfect start, and it still feels heavy with the body roll that it has. So I would say that this is a less common pick. Maybe for some really short sprints, it'd be good. It has good top end acceleration. Next, we have the Ford Mustang Boss Generation 1. So this car feels very stiff. Its body roll causes oversteer on corner exits as well. Next, we have the Clio. I used to love the Clio back in the day. It used to be super zippy and have great handling. It has been tuned on the WUG server and no longer feels like that. It has oversteer tendencies, but overall it still handles quite well. The Cobalt is also another old favorite of mine, and it feels great. It has strong handling, it's predictable. Yeah, it feels really good. Cadillac CTS. It doesn't have enough turn in, it understeers on corner entry, and sometimes it oversteers on corner exit. So it looks like a brick, it drives like a brick. We have the Aston Martin DBS V12 next. It feels really good. If it had a little bit more turn in, it would be perfect, a perfect handling car, but it doesn't quite turn in enough. Next is the Eclipse GST, Brian's Eclipse. Now this thing handles great, just like it did back in the day, but its acceleration is poor and something to be desired. We have the Evo 9 next. It feels really nice overall. I don't know why, it's not my cup of tea. It causes body roll, and this causes some oversteer on corner exits. On paper and in tests, it's actually a really strong pick. In fact, I think I rated it. Oh no, I didn't quite rate it the highest out of the rest of the cars, but I rated it very high. I think it's like second highest rating overall. So yeah, this car definitely has potential, or at least I think it does. Next we have the R32 Mark V. This car I don't think is a great B-class car. It has understeer and corner exit and feels underwhelming, to be honest. Next is the Pontiac GTO Gen 5. I really like this car, but it needs more turn in. It has understeer on corner exit. Next we have a newer model WRX. It has body roll issues, which in my opinion makes it not worth driving. Up next we have the Integra Type R. This car handles really well. It has very strong handling, and pretty average besides that. It's a really solid pick, to be honest. Next we have the Lamborghini Miura. Similarly, it has great handling. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Integra for handling, but it's really good. Um, I think it's, yeah, decent car. Next is the Monaro. I really like this car. It felt really good overall. I think from memory it has good top end acceleration. It needs more turn in and it has some oversteer. Next up we have the Mustang Gen 5. Now this thing feels really boaty and I was expecting it to be really good on acceleration to make up for this, but it doesn't. So this car feels really weak overall. I don't know why you would choose this car. Next we have the R34. This was one of my favorites. It has really good handling, slight understeer in corner exits, but still really responsive, really good. And it has very strong acceleration, like one of the best accelerations there is. Next is the Audi R8. It feels quite good, quite similar to the Skyline with a bit less acceleration. It has understeer in corner exits as well. Another favorite of mine from this list is the RX-7. So it has really strong handling, even though it oversteers quite a bit. It has oversteer that works really well with it, which makes its handling feel really good. I enjoy driving this car very much. I don't know if it's the most competitive choice, but I enjoy it a lot, yeah. Next is the Sard. It just feels like it's constantly understeering. It doesn't have enough turn in and it just understeers. Other than that, it's average everywhere. And it's very stable. Next we have the Pontiac Solstice. It has really strong handling. It has a good launch and average acceleration. So if we're looking at a short track that is handling dependent, then this could be a solid option. Next we have the Mazda Speed 3. This was on the higher end for acceleration, which is interesting, but I just don't like the way it handles. It kind of feels similar to the R32. It understeers and it doesn't have enough turn in. Next is the Spiker. This thing is a strange looking car. It looks like something from another planet. It looks kind of like a crab from the back. It has really strong handling. It's super responsive, and it's kind of average everywhere else. Solid pick for short handling track, similar to the Solstice. Next up, we have the Acceleration King, the Toyota Supra. It is a boat, and it is the only car that has really noticeable delayed steering. So this car has the potential to be the king of some tracks, especially highway tracks. But other than that, you're going to struggle with the handling. Next up, we have the Audi TT, which has really good handling. Yes, decent pick, average elsewhere. The Aston Martin V12 Vantage. I think this car has good top end acceleration. Yeah, it feels nice overall. It has slight understeer in corner exits though. I really enjoyed driving this car too. Next we have the Dodge Viper. Like the old Mustang Boss at the beginning of this list, it has stiff handling, and it also understeers. Um, It has extremely strong low end acceleration and mid acceleration is good. Top end acceleration leaves something to be desired. Honestly, if the top end acceleration was a little bit better, then this car could, compete with the Supra. But in my opinion, I don't know, it's just not good enough. The next car is the Corvette. It also has stiff handling, but it's much more responsive and it feels overall very good. I really like this one. Next, we have the Acura NSX. I think this is the handling king. I think the handling king title goes to this or the Audi TT, but I think the NSX for me felt that little bit better. It has really good response, and it has a bit more oversteer than the TT, which is I think what gives it the edge for me. Like that oversteer, it feels really good on this car. And finally, the Audi S5, a recent addition to the Tribo list. It feels like a very strong, solid pick. Like this is an all-rounder. It's pretty good everywhere. The acceleration score for this one could have easily been, 4 out of 5 stars. But it was kind of on the border, and I didn't want to be biased, so I just went with a 3. But yeah, this car feels really solid.